Okay, so we'll talk about exception. We already know what exception are. Exceptions are your runtime error,
Runtime
right?
errors.
Okay. So I said, let's say, you have A equal to 0, B equal to 10, and if I try to divide B by A, you get this error, exception error. What is that? Okay, prog 1, is it prog 1? Yes. You get zero division error. Okay, this is called exception name, and this is the error message. Okay, so important thing here is for us to capture this error, and if you have to handle it, you need to know the error. Okay, so okay, now we know this line can throw error. Now if A is anything other than 0, it doesn't matter. A can be anything other than 0, your program will work fine. So let's say I print here answer is C, right? Anything other than 0, it will work, just fine. Only thing is if A is 0. Now, if A is 0, which line can throw error? Line number 4 will throw error, correct? So I need to take care of line number 4. So to take care, we use command called try. So remember this. Try is a block, okay? The command which can give you error, okay? Command which can give you error is put under try block. Okay, so this is how you are trying to catch error thrown by C. Now here I can say I have to catch zero division error, right? So I'll say except. Except, short form for exception, saying except zero division error. You will get into this only if you get this error. Otherwise, you will not get into this. So here you can say print, okay, denominator is 0, hence stopping the program from executing. Denominator is 0, hence stopping the program from executing. Done. That's it. So now when I run it, okay, it says C is not defined. Why? Because it went into except, zero division error. Okay, and it gave you message, denominator is 0, hence stopping the program from executing, right? Okay, or denominator is 0, hence we are not calculating whatever. Now you're printing C. This C is, what is the scope of the C? C is defined under this block, right? C is defined under this block. If you define C under this block, okay, the scope of C is within this block. We discussed about life. Scope means life, right? If you do not want C to be undefined, you can define C equal to -1 here. Now, when you run it, okay, so you get answer is -1 because C equal to -1 here. This part did not get executed. So C is -1. Okay. So you have try and then you do except. Okay. Now here we also have something called as finally and else. Try and except has to be there. That's what you can catch. You also have finally or else. Else, if there is no error, else, see now, I put this print in the main program. So error or no error, this C will be printed. Now, if I give A equal to 10 here, A equal to 10 is not throwing exception. So it will go here, perform CB by A, and this will not go inside this. So when you come here, line number 10, you see a C value is 1. C value is 1 because this exception did not occur. So this value C got calculated easily. right? And you're getting this. But moment when I put 0, first of all, you see that red line. Okay, exit is not there, right? It looks like the program has performed in a perfect manner. And answer is -1. So you can say else here. Else means, okay, if there is no error, only then you do. So you use else along with if, elif, also along with try. Try, except, and then else. Else, as I said, will get executed when there is no exception. When there is no exception. So when I run this command now, okay, so see, is 0, hence stopping the program. You are not, user is not getting confused. So you are stopping the program and then you are saying C is -1, right? Now else will only execute if there is no exception. Now if I make it 10 or any non-zero value, you see, answer is 1. Else is calculated. Else is not compulsory, right? If of course, but logically speaking, else has to be there, right? What what if there is no error, right? Then it should go into else. You can have finally. Finally, I generally don't use, but you can have finally. Finally is both the cases. Something that will get executed, there is error, no error. So finally, print, we have completed division process, right? So if there is no error also, you'll get it. If there is error also, you will get it. Okay. But yeah, generally, finally, you don't use it. Yeah, if you're handling with, let's say, files, you have opened a file, then you can put close here, something common, both the cases, right? So when you open a file, it's good place to close the file. Okay, so we have completed the division process is the what I'm going under finally. Okay, now let's say instead of a equal to 0, I put a equal to k. Okay, what will happen? Here we get type error, isn't it? This is not your zero division error. This is type error. That's why we got type error as exception. Okay, not zero. So zero division error, we caught it, but type error, we did not catch it. So any exception, okay, that can be thrown, you manually change the value, see the exception, copy the name, and type it here. You can say except type error, print invalid in numbers, hence exiting. Now when you run it, see, you don't get red thing, okay? You get a proper message. You can have any number of except, okay? Now we also have something called as except exception. Exception is the parent class of all the exception, okay? If none of the exception works, this exception will definitely work. Okay, so print, not sure, but some error has occurred. We need to stop. Okay. Just like if, elif, else, here also, first, when you get an exception, it will start matching. Zero division error, yes. So you get this message. Zero division error, no. Then type error, let's say no. Then if it is no, exception will definitely occur because exception is parent class of all the exception. If you're not catching the exception before, it will go into exception. So except exception has to be the last exception. What if I give before? Okay, because since it the exception is masked in the order, your zero division error, type error, these things will never ever occur. It will always go to exception only, because exception will catch all the error. All the errors will be caught by exception. So this generally, when we are not sure, right? Or we might have some other error, not sure which all error. So you put exception there, saying that, okay, if the error occurs, let's handle it. Okay, so you can have, okay, exception, but it should be the last one, never the first or in the middle. Okay, let's say I give type error 1 or, zero division error 1. Okay, these are not there, so it will not work. But if you get something else, okay, let's say we'll divide B by D. Okay, so see, it has caught, some exception has occurred. This is neither zero division error nor type error. What error is this? Not defined, right? So better you remove it and run it and see the error. It is name error, right? So since we have not done capture, we have not captured name error, it is giving us the error. And if we put exception, it will go into exception error. But if you want to catch it specifically, you can say except name error here and give your customized message or whatever. Okay, one of the values has not been defined. Try again. Now when you run it, you see, it has gone into name error. All right. So your program is not stopping abruptly. It's you are taking control of the program with exception. That's the main purpose of exception, that you take control over the program. All right. Yes, did you understand? Now let's look at,
Yes, sir.
yes. So let's now look at how to handle it. So, okay, we'll take one simple example. I say num1 equal to int of input enter length. Okay, or I'll put length here. Then here we'll say breadth equal to breadth, and here you'll have area equal to length into breadth, right? Area of the rectangle is area. Okay, so length 5, 6, area is 30. Perfect, right? Okay, but life is not always perfect, right? Okay, let's say your user is ending 50 or 5 like this. Okay, it'll give you exception. So it depends. See, these are the tools, right? Try, accept as a tool. How you want to do it. Okay, so maybe what I can do is um, instead of ending the program, what I'll do is I'll put this in a while true format. while true format. Okay, and I'll push this inside. Okay, and again I'll say try, because obviously this can give me error, right? Okay, now since these are getting inside, right, I will define length and breadth here as -1 comma -1. Okay, so that definition is there. Okay, the scope, I have increased the scope. Okay, so try length. Now if there is an exception, so I can say here except. What exception? Value error, right? So except value error, or you can say any exception for that matter, right? Except exception, invalid number, try again. But I want to be very specific, so I say value error. Print invalid number, try again. Okay. So for a moment, just forget about, we have these three statements. Forget about these statements. So this will go and try again. But what if the user enters correct value? If user enters correct value, still you have while true. Okay. So I'll show you what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now let's run this program. Okay. So enter length, I enter R. Invalid number, try again. G. Okay. 5T. Okay, all good. But if I enter correctly 56, still it's saying enter length. No exception, right? But still it's saying something else. How do I handle it? What do I do? I will say else break. When will come to else? When there's no exception. When no exception comes to else, so I'll say break. No, it will break and come to the next line. Now this second breadth, can I put it here? Of course you can put it here. The problem is, let's say if length is correct and breadth is wrong, still you are taking the length value again. So to avoid that, what I'll do, I will not put length and breadth together. I'll put them separately like this. And here I will say breadth. Because if someone enters length correctly and then enters breadth incorrectly, you are forcing them to enter the length again, right? I don't want to do that. So that's why I put a two different. So sometimes, you have to write 2 line became 15 lines, right? But sometimes you have to do it to make your program become more robust. We call them as robust. Very hard to break your program, very hard to make your program go wrong, or okay. You never know, what user, you're clearly saying enter a number, but what if they enter something else? You can't control their entry, right? But you should control your program. Okay, now I go here and I can say area equal to length into breadth. Okay, but remember, area into length and breadth, if there is an exception, you are forcing it to go again and again and again and again. You will come out only if they give you correct value of length and breadth. So, there is no chance for, getting wrong value in length and breadth. So you can happily put it in the main program and perform this. Okay. So now when I run this program, enter length 5T. Try again, 50. Breadth 70. Error again, 60. Area is 3000, 50 into 60. Right? Now let's say I enter this and I say length equal to 0, breadth equal to 0. Can you have an area, a rectangle with length 0 and breadth 0? No.
No.
But then there's no, because 0 is an integer, so it's not going to throw exception. We can throw our own exception. You can create your own exception and you can throw your own exception. See, I can do here, I can check a value here saying if equal to 0, try again. But let's say I want to throw one exception, my own exception. We have something called as assert. Now, see, there are two things here. Python has given us something called as assert, and this will always be assertion error. So assertion error is left for us to throw it. So if you need only one error, you can go for assertion error. But let's say you want to be very innovative, you want to create your own 5, 600 errors. Of course, you can do that. That also is there. So there's left one as one error, assertion error, where you don't have to do anything. You can simply call it. But the problem is, okay, it is called assertion error and you can't do anything more. Okay, so where will I get length equal to 0 or breadth equal to 0 in else, right? So in else, I will say, okay, in else, I will say, okay, before you break, I'm going to say assert, okay, assert, bracket open, if length, oh, this is breadth, right? Breadth is less than equal to 0, or rather greater than 0, sorry. So I'm saying if breadth is greater than 0, then you are fine. Otherwise, throw an exception called invalid number. Okay, or I would say a rectangle with this dimension is not possible. Okay, so run it. Assertion is always true. Okay, it's not always true, right? Okay, no bracket. Enter length, I enter 5, correct. Breadth, I enter -2. So see, assertion error. This assertion error, I added it. So if you do not perform, and then if you say length is 5 and this is -2, you get area rectangle is -10, which is not possible, right? So I'm throwing my own assertion, or I'm throwing my own exception.
So I have a doubt. For
Mm-hmm.
assert, you're saying breadth greater than 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're giving a breadth less than 0, why is the exception coming?
Breadth greater than 0 is when you do not want exception. Correct value is breadth greater than 0. That is when you don't want error. Error is when this condition becomes false.
Okay, okay,
When this condition becomes false, that's when you want the exception to be thrown.
okay,
When
okay,
it is correct, then you don't want. So this
okay.
is like for passing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I run this and I say 5 and 6, there's no exception. Okay. Only if this is false, you get exception,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yes,
now
yes.
obviously you can put this in a try and catch, and so this is throwing exception, and again you can catch an exception error. So this
Mm-hmm.
is where you are creating and throwing your own exception. Okay,
Okay.
that's what assert will do. Same thing you can do here. Okay. Okay. So if you give, okay, so we are creating or we are throwing our own exception. Or I just said, right, you can create your own exception also. So let's say I create my own, I have to create a class for exception. Okay. So let me do here. So I'm going to say class invalid length. Okay. I could have said invalid dimension, but I'm just showing you invalid length where we'll have both assertion error as well as invalid length error. Okay. And this should extend the exception class. So it should derive from exception class. Okay. Now you can define the init, okay, if you want to, or okay, even if you don't want to, it's fine, I guess. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Let me put init, and init, we will put the value. Okay, and we'll say self dot value equal to value. This value is the value of the length. We are going to handle the length. So go to length here, right? Here I don't want to use exception. Okay, exception we have seen already in the. So instead I will use my own error here. Okay, so if length is less than equal to 0, okay, if length is less than equal to 0, okay, then you you throw the exception. You say raise which exception? Invalid length. Okay, now you're supposed to catch this invalid length exception. Okay, so now when you run it, length I say 0. You see? No. Okay. This I have given here, right? So okay, let's say we don't give value here. Okay. I mean, you can create a message, okay, but let's say I'm not using anything here for now. So now when you run it, I say 0, okay, raise invalid length. And you can catch it here, where this part is throwing error, right? So now you can say try, okay, and accept invalid length, okay, invalid length here, okay, and invalid value for length, something like this. See, invalid value for length. So same as assert, but here you can create your own specific exception name and you can catch it. Then you can say invalid for length, hence resetting the value to 1. Let's say condition is, if it is non-valid, you reset to 1. Reset to 1, and you can say length equal to 1. Because if I continue to do here, right, it will throw another error because length area is 0, right? So now you say length equal to 0. Okay, resetting it to 1, breadth is 6. You get 1 into 6, not 0 into 6. Depending upon the logic, what you want to do. But this is what we do when we,
So I got a bit confused. What's the difference between raise invalid length and the exception error accept invalid length?
Raise, you are raising your own error. See,
Okay.
there is nothing called as invalid length exception.
Oh,
If
okay.
value is 0, see, if you are reading integer value as a string, there is a inbuilt exception. But
Okay.
there's no exception if you give value as 0.
Okay. Okay.
But I want to throw a exception when value is 0. So I will say raise. So raise is automatically the inbuilt exceptions are raised. But when we define our own exceptions, then they are not automatically raised because Python doesn't know when to throw it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in Java we say throw, here we say raise. So we raise the exception whenever we want to. So I'm checking if this is equal to this, raise exception.
Okay.
How you handle it is up to you, right? It's the same way. Okay, so now you will say except invalid length. Whatever the exception name that you have given, you have to
Mm.
use that name as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is how your exception works. Okay, so we are done with exceptions. You can, of course, practice. Now, my plan is for rest of the day, we will practice date time. We'll practice few date time, and then we'll get into SQL database. Okay, shall we?
Yes. Okay, sir.
Okay. So we have three important modules. Okay, date time, date, and time. If you wanted to use both date time, use date time. If you want to use only date, use date. If you want to use on time, you use only time. Okay. Now we'll start with date time. So date time has another, as a class called date time. Okay, so date time module has a class called date time. Okay, so if I want to use that class, I have to say from date time import date time. From date time import date time. Okay, now from date time importing date time class. Module is file name is date time. In that there is a class called date time, and now the functions which will be available to be will be date time dot. So it is actually date time dot different function. I want to know the current time. Okay, so I'll say print current time is date time dot now. Okay, so say this year, month, date, hours, minutes, seconds, and you see this? Okay, it goes on to that many places. Okay, six is what? Milliseconds. It gives you up to millisecond. Okay, you can capture each portion of it. I want only year. I want only date. You can capture each portion here. So how you capture? Let's say I give here current time equal to, so that I don't have to use this again, date time dot now. I'm going to say this. Of course, current time is current time. Now I can say current time dot. Okay, you see these are the options available for us. Okay, so I'll say year. It'll give you year. Current time dot date. Date. Okay, so see, you get year 23, and this is the entire date. You want today's date, I mean day, we say date. Date is a function there. And day is current time dot day. See, day is 12th July, right? So you can access each member from this. Okay, you want to print now, okay, current time, but with in your format. Okay, you don't like the inbuilt format. You want to do your own formatting. Of course, you can do it. Okay, we have something called as string format time. So output is going to be not date type, it's going to be string type. String format time. So you are formatting the time to string. So I want year. So I will say percentage capital Y. And I want slash, let's say. So I'll put slash. Then you want month, you say small m. Capital M is for minute. Again, I'll say slash. And okay, the Indian format is what? Date, month, time, right? So let me put day first. Small d slash m slash percentage capital Y. Let's run and see. See, 12/7. It'll give you the format you want. You don't want to space, you can delete the space. So using string format time, okay, you can format to any format that you want. Okay, we're converting time to string actually here. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's say I want to run a for loop and I want to see how much. Oh, we did this right when we were doing um, that game example, right? We measured how much time the program took. So you measure current time before and after. Difference of current time is the total time taken by your program to run. You can do that. Okay. You can even make machine take rest. You can make machine sleep for some time. Okay. So how do you make machine sleep for some time? I can say import time. Import time. And here time dot sleep. And let it will make sleep for 2 seconds. Now you say print good morning and current time. Okay, let's run it and see what happens. You see, the mess it stopped, right? Because it went to sleep. And after 2 seconds, it woke up and then printed message good morning. And you see here, it was oh, current time is the time here, right? I have to use this new time again. Current time was taken long back, right? That's why you get same back. So it has slept for 2 seconds. Now you compare here, right? It is 29 seconds and this is 31 seconds, correct? So 2 seconds, right? Almost 2 seconds. Yes or no? So you can make machines sleep. You want to stop sometimes, let's say, I use it when I was trying to read some data from a website. When you try to read data from website will be slow, right? And your computer is running very fast. So it'll give you error saying that data not found, data not found. So you can make it sleep for 10 seconds. Saying, okay, hold on, wait, you wait for 10 seconds and then you perform your job. Just give sleep for 10 minutes, then the website will load. It's in 10 seconds. Website will get loaded, then you capture the data, come back again. Again, new website is so every time it is actually opening new page. Okay. So that opening new page takes time, right? It's not as fast as running your program. So you can make your program sleep for some time and then take the program, then read the value. Okay. You also have something called as time delta in date type. So if you come here, date time, okay, you have time delta. See, time zone, if you want to play with time zone, you can even use time zone, TZ info, time, date. These are all there in date time. Okay. These 5 modules. I mean, not only 5, date time. 6 modules are important. This 5 plus date time. Okay, it has date time also. So for time delta, we will see. Okay. Um, what was the date 2 days back? Okay. Date 2 days back was. Okay. So now you have current time, which is today's date, minus, say, time delta. Okay. And you say here days equal to 2. So what it did, exact same date and time minus this. Now, if you want to format it like this, of course, you can format it with, it has given time also, right? If you want to format it, you format this date the way you want to. So date, month, year. That's 10/7/2023. So anything that you want to do with date is in date time, and date time has all these things. Okay, you want to change the zone, you want to see what is the time in US right now, you want to see what is the time in France right now. All those things are available, okay, under date time. And you have different classes under date time which does all these activities.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, sometimes some Google pages are also show please wait for 10 seconds or log in after 10 seconds. Is that also made from this import data?
Yes. Okay. So you are stopping the program to proceed to the next step. Yes. And then there they'll display the time also, right? So there's a function where you can display. Let's say I want you to stop for 5 seconds, right? So maybe here what I can do, I'll put a for loop for I in range 5, and I'll say sleep 1. Okay. Then say print time left. Okay. Time left. So it will be 5 minus I seconds. Right? So you can say something like this. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And then you execute it. Right? So yeah, it's upon your creativity. Let's look at some examples of time zone. So you also have something called as PYTZ. PYTZ is Python time zone. Okay. So from PYTZ, import time zone. Okay, I want to see the current time in US, right? Or what is the current UTC time? Okay, or US Eastern time. Okay, so you can say print UTC time is, okay, comma, um, um, date time dot now. Okay, so this date time now, and here I need to give the time zone. So I'm saying time zone, not time delta, time zone, and zone I will give as, let's say, UTC. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so UTC. This is the time in UTC. Is it correct? UTC is GMT time, isn't it? So UTC is your GMT, universal time. Universal time. Okay. So it is midnight for them, or 2 a.m. for them. Okay. You want to know Eastern time. So you need to know the format in which they give, right? So it is like US slash Eastern. This is the format for Eastern time. Okay. UTC? No. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is your UTC time, 9:57. And -4 indicates compared to UTC, okay, GMT time. So it is GMT time. That's why plus 0000. Here, -4 means it is behind 4 hours GMT. You want to find India time zone, right? So India, we have 3 time zone. I mean, though the time is same, but we have 3 time zone. That is Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi. So Asia slash, you can say Kolkata, Mumbai, or New Delhi. Now ours is 4.5 or 5.5, depending upon your 5.5 hours ahead of UTC. 7:28, right? Our time is 7:28. So this is how you can get each time zone, and in your program, and depending upon whatever you want to do, you can do it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.